Now, the next person I want to quote from is from a dear prophetic friend of mine. He lives in Brooklyn, New York City, and his name is David Castro, and he's a prophetic brother and an author. And his writings have been the best that I have found to date on these particular subject matters. David Castro says, "A trance is basically an ecstatic experience wherein one is more or less stupefied or stunned. Herein he is susceptible only to the visions God would impart. If a trance, and he now will speak more from the biblical, but from the experiential side of things, and he then will define a trance, because one way a trance comes, and he will say a trance, a deep sleep from the Lord, or a deep sleep in the Lord, because that is one of the trance-like states. It's a description. If a trance, a deep sleep from the Lord, occurs while the person is already asleep, any of the visual or actual kinds of supernatural dreams may be experienced. One may see visions, hear words, earthly or heavenly, or he may even leave his body and travel in the spirit for a special reason. Of course, and here's where I want to bring up the most emphasis on what my friend David Castro says, of course, these things are not self-induced, but experienced as the Spirit of God wills it. There is counterfeits. There are counterparts to God's experiences in the Holy Spirit, and there are counterfeits that are in the occultic arenas. One of the differentiations between the two is this. It's the issue of the will. Most of you have heard of things called astral projection and things of this nature, and that is where a person, by an act of their own will or soul travel, as an act of their own will, are projecting themselves out into an arena. Well, that is not the case in an issue of a trance, because it is invited by God and then it is yielded to by man, and it is not dependent upon the will of man. Now, that is the operation of the Spirit anyway in all things. We cooperate, we yield, we hunger and we thirst and we ask, but we do not will and project our own selves into something. If you are, you need to check back with headquarters and find out what spirit you're actually contacting. So these things are not self-induced, but experienced as the Spirit of God wills it. Then Vine's Expository Dictionary continues on and says, in the Vine's Expository Dictionary of New Testament Words, a trance, an ecstasy, is any displacement, and hence, especially with reference to the mind, of that alteration of the normal condition by which the person is thrown into a state of surprise or fear or both. Very interesting. It always amazes me how sometimes people can accurately give a correct biblical view when they've not experienced something, when they have not entered into it on the experiential side. These, because I have both talked to people who understand this on the experiential side, as well as entered into this arena at times myself, I want to say to you that these definitions that I have just given are both biblically accurate, and they are accurate on the experiential angle as well. Other comments on this just would be that there are greater and lesser degrees of ecstatic experiences, as there is in all these different realms of things. The New Testament words amazed, amazement, and astonishment have also been translated from out of the same Greek root of the word ecstasis. Hence we see both biblically and experientially that there are various degrees of trances. One can be shocked, amazed, joyfully caught up in one's emotions due to the wondrous activity of the Holy Spirit. And that can be a form of a trance. Now, we don't normally think of it that way, but biblically it is. I hope that you can comprehend. It is where the presence of God is so thick, some miracle or something has just occurred, and you are caught up, and it's just like as though you just want to like jump out of your earth suit. You follow me? You just want to jump out of your earth suit, and you're just caught up in this ecstatic joy, this ecstatic love, this ecstatic worship of God, and it just seems as though it's all just abounding out of you. See, you are caught up into another arena. That doesn't mean in this place, though, that you are caught up to a degree that you are literally are seeing visions, but you are responding to the wondrous activity of the Holy Spirit, and it is releasing like a combustion within you, and you are caught up into a realm of worship, a realm of celebration, and a realm of awe, or a realm of fear, into a realm of like, my Lord, look at Him. And the word trance is a right word to describe such an ecstatic place. One can be shocked, amazed, joyfully caught up in one's emotions due to the wondrous activity of the Holy Spirit. Or perhaps, in a higher level of a trance, one's natural bodily functions are temporarily put on pause. The person is caught up in the Spirit, whether in the body or out of the body, is not the primary issue. And in that place of having been caught up in the Spirit, can see, hear, feel, taste, touch, and possibly even smell the presence of the Lord in an otherly, heavenly sort of way. Now, I think this sounds great. I don't know about you, but it's like, I say, Jesus, yes, we want what you have. Now, we're not to be seeking experience for the experience, just for the experiential aspect of things. We are to be seeking God, and out of seeking Him and being caught up into His loveliness, that He perhaps brings us up into many different levels of activities. Now, see again, there are purposes why God does these things. He does them so as to reveal Himself. He does them so as for us to receive an empowerment to fulfill a calling. He does them so that the fear of the Lord will come upon our lives, many different arenas.